Asterisk, in a small town, one farmer was mocked, ridiculed, and left behind. They said his land was worthless, his life was a failure, and that he had nothing but pigs and manure. But hidden beneath the dirt was a secret, one that no one believed, one that could change everything. This is the emotional journey of Jacob Miller, a man who turned shame into dignity, and what everyone thought was pig manure into priceless treasure. Asterisk, the ordinary struggle. The Miller farm sat on the edge of a small town. 3 generations had worked that land, but now it was just Jacob Miller, alone in his late 50s, feeding pigs in the dawn mist. The neighbors whispered when they passed by, "That smell. I don't know how he lives with it." Poor old man, stuck with nothing but pigs and manure. Jacob never answered. He would just tug his hat lower and keep working. His grown children, Sarah and Michael, visited once in a while. Sarah worked in the city and wanted her father to sell the farm. "Sarah, Dad, this place is running you into the ground. You could sell and live comfortably." "Jacob, this land is more than money." "Sarah, it's all I have left of your mother." At night, Jacob would sit on the porch, sipping black coffee, staring at the fields where his late wife used to plant flowers. He still heard her voice sometimes. "Jacob, this land has more to give than we know. Don't give up on it." The farm was worn down, the animals were fewer, and the debts were piling up. But Jacob stayed. To him, the farm wasn't worthless. It was memory, dignity, and home. The first out. One hot afternoon, Jacob was shoveling manure to prepare compost. As he dug deeper, his shovel hit something hard. At first, he thought it was a rock. But when he rinsed it off in the water trough, it glimmered under the sunlight. It wasn't manure. It wasn't just dirt. It was something different. He showed it to a few locals at the feed store. They laughed. "Jacob, you've really gone crazy. Treasure in pig manure. If manure could make us rich, we'd all be millionaires." Embarrassed, Jacob stopped talking about it. But at night, he took out the stone and studied it under his lamp. Something about it felt real. He remembered his wife's words again. Quietly, he began collecting more pieces from the manure piles. Some were dull, but some shone faintly when polished. He put them in a small wooden box and locked it in his shed. When his children visited, he tried to show them. "Michael, Dad, these are just dirty rocks. Please, don't waste your energy." "Sarah, this is why people laugh at you. You're clinging to fantasies." Jacob felt the sting of their words, but his heart wouldn't let go. The breaking point. Finally, Jacob took a bold step. He traveled to the city, carrying one of the stones in his pocket. At a university geology department, he nervously showed it to a professor. The professor almost dismissed it until he placed it under his microscope. His expression changed. He ran a few quick tests, then looked at Jacob in disbelief. "Professor, do you realize what you've brought me? This isn't ordinary. It's a rare mineral deposit, extremely valuable." Jacob, hesitant, "Valuable? How valuable?" "Professor, let's just say you're sitting on a treasure people would fight over." Jacob left in shock. Word spread quickly. Soon, journalists, officials, and developers crowded his quiet farm. The same neighbors who once called him the Manure Man now said, "We always knew Jacob was special. He deserves this. He worked hard for years." But Jacob knew most were driven by greed, not respect. Even his children fought about it. "Sarah, Dad, you should sell it immediately. This could make us all rich." "Michael, no, this is ours. We need to protect it. Don't trust outsiders." For the first time, Jacob felt truly torn. All he ever wanted was dignity, not wealth, not chaos. The revelation. One evening, overwhelmed, Jacob walked to the old garden where his wife once planted roses. He sat on the bench, holding one of the stones, and whispered, "Jacob, is this what you meant? Is this what the land had to give?" Suddenly, he realized the minerals weren't the real treasure. The treasure was the value of the land itself, the life it gave, the lessons it carried, the dignity it restored. The next morning, Jacob made a decision. Instead of selling out to greedy developers, he signed a partnership with a university. They would mine carefully, preserve the land, and share profits with the town. But Jacob had one condition. A portion of the earnings would build a community center, a library, and scholarships for local children. The mayor announced it publicly. The same townspeople who once mocked him now cheered. For the first time, Jacob stood in front of the community, not as the smelly farmer, but as a man of vision. The legacy. Years passed. The Miller farm remained standing, not destroyed but thriving. The manure piles were long gone, replaced by carefully managed land and clean facilities. The community center buzzed with life, children reading, families gathering, young people studying under scholarships funded by Jacob's treasure. Sarah and Michael, once ashamed, now felt proud. Sarah, Dad, we were wrong. You saw value where no one else could. Michael, you taught us that worth isn't always obvious. One morning, Jacob sat on his porch with his coffee, the sunrise painting the fields gold. He whispered softly, almost as if speaking to his late wife. Jacob, you were right. This land had more to give than we knew. The story closes with a powerful image. Jacob, sitting quietly, while in the background the town prospers. Not because of the treasure alone, but because of his faith, his patience, and his refusal to give up.